Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back. Today we're going to talk to you about the capo and how useful of a tool it is. Anybody that tells you that you're a lesser player because you got to use a capo, tell them where to go and how to get there really quick, okay? Because they obviously lack the ability themselves to use a capo or to know how to use one properly. So, okay, and then they're just a snob. Okay, now I never really used a capo for like ever myself, okay? But since, playing more and more in church, you kind of got to need the capo sometimes because otherwise what you do may not work out right. Okay, it's kind of like every song has a key, right? So, and every song can be changed to a multitude of different keys, to the point until it just sounds horrifying, okay? So, because there is a limit to how many keys you can actually alter a song in, and it's just gonna all fall to a dumpster fire. Now, if you got a typical song in the key of G, okay, for example, you have, in that key, you have 3 major chords and you have 3 relative minors, generally, according to music theory. Unfortunately, music theory is only just that. It is theory. It's a great pile of ideas. Some stuff, yes, is set in stone, and there's no getting around it, okay? But other things, and most other things, there's a lot of ways to get around it, and you're going to need to be flexible enough to learn how to get around a lot of different situations, okay? Now, if you're playing guitar and you're singing, well, you need to know either the correct chords for that key in, say, a flat key, okay? And you're going to need to know how to play them, or you're going to have to know how to use a capo and not have to know how to play those advanced chords and stick with your basic groupings, okay? So when we talked a lot about doing your major chords like A, B, C, D, F, G, right? And then we went into some minor chords. We still got to get to the sevenths and a few others yet. But in the key of G, the most common chords, okay, are going to be G, C. Now, D7 is one of them, but you can sub out for a D, okay, which usually does sound better, but can be used either one, okay. It's a bit of a voicing difference, but it's all in how the lyrics go, whether you use a D or a D7. But then you also have your relative minors within that chord key as well, okay. And not always do you see all the majors and all the minors in any song, because you don't always use all those major chords in a key. You don't always use all the minors in any key, right? It all depends on the song, how much of that gets jumbled. But you will also find there are songs at times that throw in an off chord in a key, and it's like, why is there an E in there? E is not even part of that. But lyrically, it has to be there. It's not an option, okay? Or the song does not work, okay? Musically or vocally, it will not work. And I ran into one of these such songs yesterday at practice, and I was Tuesday at practice, because we have a practice once a week with our worship team. Usually it's on Tuesdays for the one group, and then we have another practice Sunday morning before service, and then we got to play. So I came across one of these songs for the first time ever, and I'm like, what the heck is an E doing in this song? It's like, this is just like, duh, but it had to be there. Otherwise, it doesn't flow right, doesn't sound right, and yeah, it can be a dumpster fire if you don't play that E chord where it needs to be. And it only comes up like once, and I'm like, great. Can I fake it? Nope. Turned out I couldn't. So I couldn't bypass it. Not that I can't play an E chord. It has nothing to do with that. It's just like, it didn't make sense. But we do see a lot of mistyped chords in a lot of songs, especially stuff we download off the internet. They're in the wrong spots, or they're not the right chord for that key. And it's like, okay, but that's the other problem here too, that you got to realize is, just because there's a set of chords in any key doesn't mean that person, can't use other chords, because they need to, because lyrics will dictate the chords, okay, that are used, right? Same as the key. a song can be in any key, it doesn't matter. Some of them turn the song into a dumpster fire, but vocally, what worked for that artist was putting that song in the key of A flat. Okay, now if you know your flat chords, you can play the flat because G sharp is A flat, okay, and so on and so on, right? We're going to go through all that in another video. That's not for today. But you can also manipulate chord keys out of a song by just slamming your capo around, okay, 2 different frets. Now there does become a limit, okay? Generally you don't go past maybe the 6th fret. If you have to go to the 7th fret with a capo, there's something wrong, okay? Or if you have to be way up here and it's like, this is wrong, because most people that have guitars, the majority of guitars sold for acoustics are dreadnoughts, not cutaways, okay? So you would never get up here on a dreadnought guitar unless you have really freaking long fingers, but on a cutaway you have that space, right? But you generally see, you know, maybe the 5th, maybe the 6th. It has been known to happen for the 7th, you know, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Right? But going from the key of G, let's just pick an easy song like Proud Mary. It's 3 chords, right? It's G, D, and E minor. That's it, right? So you know, but I'm not going to play Proud Mary, but I'm just going to play the progression here, just a little bit of something that would be G, D, E minor. So it's just like 3 chords, and they're all major chords. But my vocals don't work with those chords, right? And it's in the key of G. You notice there's only 1 minor in here, that's an E minor, okay? And the rest of it's just G and D. But either way, there are more chords in some songs than others in a given key. So now, if we put the capo onto the 1st fret, and we're still playing the same G, D, and E minor chords, we end up with this sound. But maybe that's not working for you. Well, what if we go into the key of A, right? All we gotta do, slide it up 1. So that changes. Now it's only a 3-chord song, right? And there's a lot of 3-chord songs, okay? There's like a couple of 2-chord songs. But we can keep going up with the capo, and as we go up, we are changing the keys in which we are playing the song in. Now, thing too with the capo is, you know, you're here at G, and you're using 3 chords. Okay, you're also at A flat, you're still using the same 3 chords. You're at A, you're using the same 3 chords, etc. Now, there will be songs too in same said keys that will have a lot more than just 3 chords in it, period, right? So that's the other part of that, is you are going to be playing extra chords. So if you were to play something, okay, like even this. This is A, key of A. Throw in a lot of extra chords, and we can throw in chords that are pulled from other keys too to make a song work. Okay, so words dictate chords too, right? So if you print out a song in a major key, okay, which is kind of probably your best bet right away as a beginner, print them always in a major key, like key of A, key of G, okay? key of D, right? So now if you want to go to the key of E flat, for example, D sharp is an E flat. So this is a D, and if you play the same bottom 3 strings, this is E flat. This is D sharp, okay? So if we put the capo on to the 1st fret and we play a D formation, so now we're in the key of E flat, because D sharp chord, so one little step up, okay, one movement from a D formation up 1, that changes D to D sharp, which is key of E flat, okay, or E flat chord. But to get the key of E flat, simplest way possible, and still play that D shape, okay, is to go here. Now E flat is also played in other different positions on the neck, okay, or on the fretboard, okay. But you have to decide for yourself, okay, well, I want to play the capo here. Now, this is when you're playing with other people where you cannot be on the same position. You need to be in the same key, okay? However, if you look at something like a C chord, okay, a C shape, right? C major, C sharp, right? And then you go up one more and you get a D. So now we want to say, okay, well, C, C sharp, D, D sharp. So this is going to be a D sharp. Which puts us into the same key of E flat. But now we're playing different formations of a chord. So if you have a song that's in the key of C, it's pretty simple. If you want to change it to E flat, boom, right there. And you don't have to change your paper, okay? Now, if you have a song in the key of D, for example, and you want to go to E flat, then you just move it back to the 1st position and play it here. But if you're playing the same song with 2 guitar players, one of you should be playing the song by looking at the key of D with capo on the 1st position for E flat. The other person, their chord formations should be starting out with the C formation up on the 3rd fret with the capo, so that they are also playing in the exact same key, but there's a tonal difference you got to listen for. Okay, so this is the C person. And this would be you. Okay, or vice versa. Listen carefully. They sound virtually identical, but they are not, okay? There's a slight tonal shift, which is what you need, okay? Now, if you are a more advanced player, then you can just do away with the capo for you, and the other person needs to use a capo, okay? And then you play your E flat with using power chords, or you can do it in bar chords, okay? But you're not going to be doing anything flat down on the 1st 3 frets with no capo. It's not going to work, okay? So you can't do it that way. You have to either use a capo or you have to know all your flat chords, okay? And of course, there's also your regular non-flat chords within there that are now going to be in place too, so you're going to have to know those if you're not going to use a capo, right? So the capo is a very useful tool. Get used to it. It's going to be a lovely addition to your arsenal of tools to become a better player, okay? And screw around with it. Like, find yourself a couple of songs that are in different keys and then just mess with the capo in the different positions, okay? So if you have a song that's in the key of C, right, then play it in C, but then use your capo. So here's your C. So if you sharpen the C by 1, because you're only moving up 1 step there, okay? So C sharp, okay, is what's known as D flat, because C sharp goes to D, and then D goes to D sharp. But if you want to flatten the D to go D flat, okay, then you need to be C sharp. Now you can find D flat in another spot on the fretboard too, but then your chord formation, or the fingers you use to form those chords, are going to change because you've got this one here. But how far do we got to go up to get to that still same chords? It may not work out. This is why you need to know the other chords, right? Because the capo is going to change things. The capo is basically a nut, okay? So standard tuning is E, A, G, G, B, E, okay? 88 Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie. But then when you go up one more like this, okay, everything changes, okay? So E goes to F, A goes to A sharp, okay? And then D goes to G sharp, right? And then G goes to G sharp, B goes to C, and then of course E repeats itself to F. So now all your tuning is completely altered, right? It's not the same. This is standard tuning. So there you go. Now, one last thing I'm going to leave you with. 5th fret capo. It turns your guitar into a guitarlele, okay? And it uses its exact same tuning as a guitarlele would. This way you don't have to play a nylon stringed guitar, which is like got a wide neck on it, and it's cute. It's a cute little guitar. But if you want to play guitarlele songs, okay, or songs played on a guitarlele, put the capo on the 5th fret. Now this is also used in different keys, obviously, too. Okay, one of them is called 5C-F. Okay, so the C is actually an F chord. Okay, but it turns your guitar into a guitarlele. I'm going to leave you with that, and then you can ask your questions in the comments below, like, what? Okay, and we'll discuss that further down the road again. Don't worry. We're definitely going to talk about this whole 5th fret guitarlele thing again some other time. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Stay tuned for more, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.